I am Bernice Abubeidulansa. It's a pleasure to have you here. The details now. They are the human shopping baskets in Ghana's markets. Statistics say there are over 10,000 of them in Accra alone. In the first of a 5-part series, my colleague Justice Beidu followed Valentina Roberts, a 14-year-old Kayaye girl, to shine the light on the life of a growing number of Accra's headquarters. Today, Valentina wakes up to work, dreading the pain and abuse ahead.
Roberts here. Valentina. Besides me, my space with your folia. I could do a la magana, I'm a tessa. I'm moment man. Lies you for it. I'm much of that. Sometimes those who afford to go 50 or 60. So I got my lunch home traffic. When you then I be the Tamale station. I be cocoa board. Then my lunch home and can. Like none more was no now that's for sorry. Not because someone was when I'm a sorry. Or has you could clear back on in the buoy of a I could to say I was a boy. Wouldn't it? The not pancake more blue way. It's blue, child of blessings that I'm almost interested. And the one who get a station school is the cooking for city. And the one who get a cocoa board is a balance of 5 because you don't pay 2 to go 25. My sister and a black on and so I'm very good. Masina wa go tell rules I go tell am we go balance hotel and the home apartment and no say obey payment and wa usipe mu wie mo ko dama ama ko chonka ya ama yo mo tronka na akan ko dia me yo mo tronka na wa ni wa kan ko go ne obro smart yes go bele wa o salo hotel e ko bon no ko o ada ha o ko appreciate stand ko enne me babalo to sa bole amaniere masala mu wie akon ko ha akan ko chonka ya ha alla ama yo mo tela ha akan ko dia Madosan to my area and Rabalco, Melkoa, Manang mo we speaking to more support. And to our market for Kaya, man now I'm a Sacha Makia, Moya, Modia, Manang mo, no way for William own. Maybe I walk on the Moya Concord. No way for that, Matsuran Camus come enough.
Producer of this series, Justice Beidu, has joined us via Zoom. Justice, what has necessitated the series?
So, Bernice, this is largely to talk about the growing numbers of girls who flock the markets of bigger cities in Ghana like Accra and Kumasi, especially around this time. And it is around, we are doing this series around this time because this is like the peak of the dry season in the 5 regions of northern Ghana, and it's around this time when there is very little to do for many young people that a lot of them would make the move to migrate south and then spend life in very, very appalling conditions in many of the slums in Accra, for example, Bernice.
So we've just had this story of Valentina, where she shares of pain and abuse. What more should we expect?
So through Valentina's story, we are trying to tell the various parts of life as a Kayaye. We will be looking, for example, at how they've had to truncate their education to make the journey to Accra. We will be looking in another series, for example, on how they live here in terms of accommodation. We have places where we have 15 Kayaye people sleeping in one room. We would be looking at the many promises that have been made by government before and current in terms of fixing this problem, or at least giving a support to this problem, to the people, the girls who are involved in this, and then finding sustainable solutions to the menace, and highlighting how many of these promises have failed to happen, Venice.
All right, Justice Bedu, he's producer of the Human Shopping Baskets, a 5-part series focusing on headquarters in the major cities of Accra and Kumasi. Today we heard the story of Valentina Roberts, who speaks of abuse and pain. Away from that, the National Association of Small-Scale Miners says it does not understand why the military is burning excavators and equipment belonging to its members, who it says are operating legally. According to the group, the use of the military to destroy and harass members was not one of the measures agreed on during the National Dialogue on Mining. 3 excavators and several mining equipment have been burned at the sites of its members in the Trifo-Praso district of the Central Region. At a news conference at one of the sites, spokesperson of the association, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, gave government a 7-day ultimatum to fix the problem they've caused or face their wrath. Richard Kojunyako was at that briefing for Joy News and joins us via phone. So, Richard, what did this group or association say was the exact agreement between itself and government during the National Dialogue on Mining? Unfortunately, we lost Richard Kojunyako there, but he was at that press briefing where the National Association on Small-Scale Mining is alleging that the military has destroyed equipment and is harassing its members who are mining legally. And you may recall that in the first term of President Akufo-Addo's government, there was a fight or a campaign against illegal mining that was not too successful, as we saw. And this time round, prior to government announcing new measures, there was a dialogue where these small-scale miners, chiefs, traditional rulers, and government met to discuss the issues and discuss the way forward. But while we wait for my colleague Richard Kojunyako to join us with details of that press, let's listen to spokesperson of the National Association of Small-Scale Miners, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan.
Yes. We want clarification on the president's directives to the military. That is, did the president order the military to burn excavators on site or seize them? This is a question that we need answers to be answered. For example, the military were asked to go on river bodies, but we have a situation whereby they veer off and they went to communities whereby there are licensed small-scale miners, and they went burning their equipment. Example of those communities are Ntefrewaso, Asamokrum, and Awisem, all in the Trifo-Praso district of the Central Region. Then, the other one that we want clarification, or we want to find out, or see how best, can't the government liaise with the Minerals Commission for the names of small-scale block out areas across the country and share with the deployed military personnel to prevent them from harassing legally licensed miners? Example of nursing members whose sites have been burnt or evaded by the military, although mining activities are not on river bodies or in the forest, are John Benedict Ventures at Ntefrewaso, where we are now. Then Antodom Enterprise at Asamokrum, all in the Trifo-Praso district of the Central Region. We are going on to seek clarification, another clarification, that is the national dialogue, because what we went and discussed, we want to express our total displeasure about government's U-turn on issues raised at the recently held small-scale mining dialogue at the Accra International Conference Center. Example is, we never discussed anything about militarization or using force to take people out on our legally acquired licenses, because the directive was clear that everybody should be on river bodies, or the military were to go on river bodies to take out illegal miners on the river bodies and their logistics. By so doing, we are giving the government an ultimatum of 7 days to address these concerns, or expect 3 days intensive nationwide demonstration by NASAM in all cities and towns in this country. By so doing, we thank you, and we expect a quick response from the government as well as the minister in charge of land and natural resources.
Let's move on now. Some communities in the Saluga district of the northern region are dealing with water challenges, or have been dealing with water challenges for months. The only natural source of water for 5 communities in the area has dried out as a result of the impact of climate change. Prince Apia traveled to the area and has more in this report.
Heavily pregnant Fuseni Fatima carries 4 gallons on her head and walks more than 20 minutes to get water. Covering this distance has been her daily routine for months, even in her condition. Children are not spared this ordeal. 10-year-old Saiba Aishetu and her friends ride bicycles for close to an hour to get water from the neighboring community. Resting on this scaffold is a water tank right in the middle of Zogu community, meant to supply water to residents. The idle water tank is connected to a solar mechanized well drilled in 1999. The well was, however, constructed by international NGO World Vision for the community in 2015. But water does not flow through the pump anymore because some of the solar panels are rusted and damaged. Adam Tahiru is a community leader. Very critical and located in the center of these 5 communities is this dam, which is supposed to be a water source. 5 communities, Jagun, Kuko, Teho, Sanjago, and Zogo, fetch water from here. The water dam is now a bare land due to the dry spell. So this is the net of someone who used to fish here. But mind you, this was a source of drinking water and a source of fish for residents living around this particular area. But because of the impact of climate change, the harsh weather conditions, all the water on this particular land has dried out, and it's now left with this cracked soil. Residents in these communities are predominantly farmers and dependent on this source of water to cultivate their farms. The farmers are currently unable to cultivate vegetables because there's no water for irrigation. Mr. Tahiru says a good number of its youth are migrating down south for greener pastures.
So the born come on to Malmotatalma. Sashelton Jean Tamala Motatale. To Zobima and Tebima Banchan Kaya, Tiamala Quaptishi, Anya Bokulan Tuchang.
Mitigating the impact of climate change remains critical to secure the livelihoods of the people here. Else, the woes of Saiba Aishetu and Fusaini Fatima, for instance, will continue for a long time until the water problem is fixed. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, this problem is not exclusive to residents in the north. Residents at Okumekura, Ngane, and Abongo in the Karachi East municipality of the Oti region are calling on authorities to help end the perennial lack of access to potable water in their areas. Though there were a number of boreholes sunk in these communities, they do not contain enough water to sustain the large numbers, while most of them have broken down. Residents queue for long hours just to get a quarter of a pan of water for domestic use. The residents in these communities currently resort to unwholesome sources of water, which are mainly stagnant pools with living organisms, which they also have to share with herds of cattle in the area. They say the only thing they do to make the water clean is to add alum, which purifies the dirty brown water. Peter Seno has more in the following report.
We seriously need water. The borehole we have does not contain much water. Our wives are suffering a lot, so we plead for urgent attention. Water is life. As for water, we are really suffering. We have put this before our MPs most times, but this borehole does not contain water. The other one too has its metals rusted. We need a new borehole. Our women are suffering. Voices of residents in desperate search of potable drinking water. Residents at Okumakra have depended on this source of water for years, especially during the lean season where there are no rainfalls to collect. The Okumakra community has 3 boreholes sunk for them, but the only one currently active is with insufficient water to serve the community. Residents queue longer hours just to get less than a pan full of water. This borehole, which construction started 6 years ago, we are told, has been abandoned. The population is more than the borehole. This abandoned one was started 6 years ago. The first one too has broken down. The first in the community, even sank at a place liable to flooding, is also down with insufficient water to serve the community. It took a great deal of effort to get this half bowl of water, which also stopped flowing after a minute of rigorous pumping. It is avoiding this ordeal that the residents resort to depending on these unwholesome sources of water. When we pump the pipe, it does not flow. It is not helping us. It has not even lather when you wash with it unless you use a detergent. That is why we go down there to fetch.
Yes, sir.
This one, we add alum to it, then it settles down for washing. This one, because of the insects, we use our scarves to sieve it and then we drink. This is also heavily laden with tadpoles and other living organisms. After a few scoops, a dead toad was found, allegedly killed and dumped in by herdsmen to discourage the residents from depending on it so the animals could have full access.
Peter Senu with that report. Now, Deputy Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Asare, has revealed the Commission has begun the process of amending the constitutional instrument to allow residents of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Likpe and Olobi Sao to vote in the next parliamentary elections. The people of Sao were disenfranchised in the 2020 parliamentary elections. The EC had announced they could only vote in the presidential elections due to boundary issues. Speaking on the probe with MFR Pau, Dr. Asare dismissed suggestions the move was employed to manipulate the parliamentary results.
At times people don't understand the laws. You know, the district, the South district, I think is the Guan district. The LI that created the district, I think the LI passed parliament somewhere on November 10th. November 10th, 2020. When we lay a CI in parliament, when you lay a CI, it takes 21 working days to mature. The LI that led to the creation of the Guan district passed parliament around November 9th, November 10th. And the EC got the information from Parliament on November 15th or 16th. And from November 16th to December 7th, how many days? We are looking at about 22 days, is that not so? When the LI passed Parliament, that led to the creation of the Guan district, Parliament went on recess for the elections. So what would you do if you were the EC at that time? Parliament that will see to it that the document will mature has gone on recess. So
if it was priority for you, I'm sure you would have found a way for Parliament to do that.
No, Parliament couldn't have done it. Parliament, the document passed the Parliament November 10th, and the EC was alerted to it on November 16th. So when the Parliament had gone on recess.
So what then happens to the people? That's the concern. We've been to court, everything back and forth. What exactly?
Before we talk about what happens to the people, the point must be made clear that the EC did not have any hand in it. The EC can never do that. Why would we want to disenfranchise people? Then going forward, the EC is looking at, we have the CI 119, which is about electoral areas within the districts, and the CI 128, electoral areas within the constituency. All these things must go to Parliament for it to be amended, because Guan will now have different electoral areas to form the constituency. So the EC has begun the process, and we are working on it. So we want to use this medium to assure the people in that area that the EC is doing what is proper, what is necessary to ensure that they are also fairly represented in Parliament.
Away from election issues, it's supposed to be a nerve-relaxing activity for contestants who represent their schools in the National Science and Maths Quiz. But what's meant to be an off-the-cuff engagement between the quiz mistress and the contestants on stage could easily become another round of competition that causes upsets, at least for some schools. From Bolgatanga, my colleague Manuel Krante reports on how contestants in the regional qualifiers of the 2021 NSMQ react to "Tell us something about your school."
I'm happy to meet the contestants, and I'm sure you'd also be happy to meet them. So let's meet our contestants. So we'd like to know about your school. Tell us something about your school.
Well, this is a pretty simple request, which should ordinarily elicit a simple response, like these ones.
Bolgatanga Girls Senior High School is one of the prominent senior high schools in Upper East Region, Bolgatanga, and it is located at the Bolgatanga municipality, precisely Zanre. It was basically a community boarding school, and it was now transformed into a women college. And then in 1973, it was now turned into senior high school. And our motto is unity, equality, and then patriotism.
Bolgatanga Senior School was established in the year 1970 and is located at the Talensi district, specifically in Kogu, Upper East Region. And we go by the motto, "To the glory of God and honor of Ghana," and we are the pride of the East.
Wonderful.
But as the first week of competition in the regional qualifiers of the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz will reveal, tell us about your school could be a really confusing request sometimes. Like this time when Sandima SHTS was meeting Zoko SHS from Bisi SHS and Boku SHS.
It's a school that don't give up easily. It is a school that don't give up easily.
You don't give up easily?
Yeah.
So where is your school? Is it a mess school? Those are the things you'd want to know.
Please come again.
Where is your school? Where can I find your school?
It's in Zoko.
Oh, there were more.
So Abraham and Elisha, kindly tell me about Zwarungu Senior High School. Anything about your school that you'd want me to know.
Zwarungu Secondary School is one of the senior high schools which is found in the Bolga East region.
It's a school which is situated in the Bulsa North district of Sandema.
You can leave the mic. Just leave the mic, yes, and talk.
And it is a mixed school. Our motto is integrity, integrity, patriotism, and knowledge.
Let's take you now live to the Nut Hall in Tamale, where the Northern Region qualifiers just started. Manuel Cranting joins us via Zoom. Manuel, before you tell us anything, let me tell you something about my school. I went to Infantaman Girls Secondary School, located at South Pond in the Central Region, and our motto is Obranya Warabo, which is life is what you make it. Well, done with the Upper East Region. How's the Northern Region looking, and what should we expect?
Well, Ben, it's nice to know that you remember something about your school. But yes, the Upper East Region was quite eventful with a lot of exciting contests. Eventually, 6 schools qualified for the national tournament. Now we're in the Northern Region, and the contest just began. In fact, the very first contest for the region ended just a couple of minutes ago, and currently underway is a second contest. There's already been a giant slayer. Kaupohin SHS in the Northern Region has been able to, as it were, thump St. Charles Seminary, after eventually, beating and fighting off competition from that school and 2 others to book the very first spot of the region in the national tournament. So currently, as it stands, we have Kaupohin Senior High School as the very first school that is getting ready, to represent the Northern Region in the national tournament come October this year. There are 3 extra contests that are expected to, produce 3 more winners at the end of the day. Currently ongoing, we have Tamale Girls Senior High School, we have Tamale Islamic School also, and then all of these are meeting currently, and at the end of the day, we'll get to see a second winner, and then a third, and then a fourth before the day runs out, Venice.
Definitely, Manuel, we'll come to you later in subsequent bulletins for updates on the NSMQ Northern Region qualifiers. But let's take you to the Central Region now. 2-time winners of the competition in Infantaman School will later today know their fate regarding qualification to the National Championship in October this year. Well, the Kwaboche boys, as they are called, failed to secure a place as a seeded school after they failed to make it to the quarterfinals of the 2020 national competition. Maxwell Agbagba joins us from the University of Cape Coast, where the Central Region qualifiers for the NSMQ is taking place. Hello, Maxwell. Infantaman, big name in the NSMQ. How did they slip to the regional qualifiers? Unfortunately, we lost Maxwell there. Maxwell was supposed to join us from the Central Region, where he was going to give us some updates. We're picking some hints that Wesley Girls Senior High School is 2021 NSMQ Central Region champion. So we're just going to get an update on that from him. But unfortunately, technology is not our friend today. You're watching Joy News Today with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Hopefully we'll get Maxwell. If we don't, do join us in subsequent bulletins for an update on the NSMQ Central Region qualifiers. But now we'll take a quick breather. Business news is up next. Well, before that, thankfully, we've been able to raise Maxwell on the phone. So, Maxwell, Infantipim School slipped to the regional qualifiers because they couldn't make it to the quarterfinals in the 2020 NSMQ. But tell us, what's the latest with regards to their quest to make it to this year's national championship?
Well, Dennis, so that contest will be happening later today. It is actually the fourth contest for the day. Some of the students who I've seen here are optimistic that they're going to qualify and make it to the national stage. They'll be coming up against Sodro School of Business, the Chelsea Senior High School, Fetaman Senior High School, Heman Senior High Technical School, and then in Yaman Senior High School. They are optimistic that they'll be able to make it to the national competition. Remember that at the 1/8 stage of the competition in the 2020 championship, Infantipim School faced competition from Kumasi Academy and St. Mary's SHS. Kumasi Academy in that contest had 53 points. Infantipim School managed to get 35 points, with St. Mary's trailing with 30 points. So by the close of the day today, we'll know whether they will be able to make it to the big stage in October or not. This means a lot to the old students, and some of them are already here to support Infantipim School.
All right. So quickly, Maxwell, Infantiman girls will also know whether they'll be making it to the 2021 national competition. Tell us more about their contest.
Exactly. That's just Infantiman girls could not make it to the 2020 national competition because they were kicked out right now at the regional level by Asin State College. Now, at school, Asin State College just booked the first slot from the Central Region to be at the national competition. Infantiman girls just started their journey to the 2021 national competition. The first round is underway, and we are yet to get results from that. But before 2 p.m. today, we'll know whether they'll qualify or not.
Fingers crossed, you know, Infantiman is my school. But thank you very much, Maxwell Agbagba there, joining us from the Central Region town of Cape Coast with updates on the Central Region National Science and Maths Quiz competition. You're watching Joy News today. Up next is Business News. Do stay.
My name is Darryl Kwao. It's time for business. In our first story, the Bank of Ghana has assured that the cedi remained fairly stable despite recent pressures. The Ghanaian currency witnessed some fluctuations over the past few weeks, pushing it to 5 cedis 78 pesos to the dollar. This has raised concerns the cedi is entering a period of depreciation, usually associated with the first quarter. But Director of Research at the Central Bank, Philip Abredu Otu, says there is no cause for alarm.
The thing about the exchange rate is that so many factors affect the exchange rate. And I think for us, Ghana, we have also evolved in this area. And lately, we have investor sentiments as one of the factors that explains the movement in our exchange rate. So the way investors behave, the way they react to economic news, the way the decisions they make regarding the resources that they have here can all impact the exchange rate. I haven't checked the numbers lately, but if you say it's moved from 5.4 to 5.7, yes, the question for us at the central bank is
5.73 to 5.77.
5.73 to 5.77. Well, the question is, are these within our tolerable limits? Has the exchange rate gone way out that
trend changing, the stability that we've seen just at the end of the Q3?
I mean, George, from 5.73 to 5.77 is still within tolerable limits.
You don't think that we are getting back to the Q1 pressure? The trend is now going to see a sustained depreciation?
No, George, the statistics before me, if I look at the first quarter, I've seen that the exchange rate has appreciated by some 0.55% is what I see. Some market reforms have been put in place, especially the forward market. The forward market is changing the dynamics in the foreign exchange market. And as we speak, the pipeline demand that we see here at BOG has almost fizzled out. And the forward is serving to provide
some confidence and assurance to the market that forex availability is guaranteed, and that notional demand on the spot market is almost absent at this stage.
To Bono East now, where the regional minister, Kwesi Edujan, has charged the various municipal and district assemblies of the region to adopt the use of ICT in local revenue mobilization as a means of improving its internally generated funds. The minister made this call when he had a stakeholder engagement with some municipal chief executives and service providers at the Regional Coordinating Council. Anas Sabit has more in the following report.
Ghana's comprehensive decentralization program aimed at bringing governance closer to the citizenry was implemented in the late 80s. The program has since made modest gains, especially in promoting local participation in political governance. However, one of the biggest challenges facing the district assemblies is the effective mobilization of revenues internally to support local development. To help improve the situation, the Bono East Regional Minister, Mr. Kwesi Edujan, is charging the 11 municipal and district assemblies of the region to ride on the robust ICT tools being implemented by government to enhance its internally generated funds.
Having been in the office for about 2 months, I've realized that the IGF generation in the districts aren't that so good. And this has culminated into lack of projects by the district assemblies. This does not augur well for decentralization. With the robust infrastructure which has been laid, this creates an enablement for us to use information communication technology to enhance our revenue collection. Okay, so the infrastructure has been laid. It's like a road network has been built. We just have to get the vehicle to put on that road. And the vehicle is what organizations like GIZ and others are providing in the form of software to enable this to be realized.
Mr. Edujan made this call when he had a stakeholder engagement with the regional representatives of the GIZ and some municipal chief executives and their coordinating directors. He says the effective use of revenues taken from the people would boost confidence amongst taxpayers, which would, in the long run, increase the revenues of the assemblies.
And there's more business news coming up on the marketplace at the top of the hour. Up next, sports, we'll be talking 2023 Africa Games. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, time now for Sports on Joy News today with me, Muftar Nabila Abdullah. We're asking a question today about how ready Ghana is to host the 2023 Africa Cup. How Ghana is ready to host the Africa Games 2023. President Akufo-Addo has promised on 3 different occasions the government's commitment to organizing successful games. Well, that starts with a befitting infrastructure to host 25 sporting disciplines that will converge in the country. So how have preparations been like? Joy Sports editor Gary Al-Smith was at the earmarked site for the Games Village, where a 50,000 capacity stadium is expected to be built, and came through with this report.
In 27 months at the earliest and 30 months at the latest, that is between August and November 2023, Ghana is supposed to be, at least on paper, be hosting the Africa Games, basically Africa's Olympics. To do that, Ghana needs a site to host the continent. But is the site ready? Well, today we are in Borteman, which has been earmarked by the government as the place where the games should be hosted. How far have we gone? As landmarks go, this is it. The new Accra Turf Club. Remember, the old Accra Turf Club used to be in Accra town proper, but when it was moved, this is the new Accra Turf Club. From here, this is the landmark that takes us to the site where we should be having the facility for the Africa Games. Is it ready? It's just about 200 to 300 meters from here, and we'll take you there to see how ready and how prepared the country is. Well, so we've been taking the scenic route from the Accra Turf Club, the new Accra Turf Club. You take a left inside, between two walls. And we are told that this particular road was graced so that, officials and others who were coming to the site for the Africa Games would have it easy because this whole place is bush. Here we are having a bit of a natural impediment. But this is all to the root of the new Africa Games, giving you an idea of how far behind things are. Finally, our friends gave us way to be able to access the site for the African Games, which is slated to be hosted by Ghana in 2023. Now, the idea is that a 50,000 capacity Olympic stadium will be built on this site. At least when you go onto the internet and Wikipedia, it says the Boteman Olympic Stadium and into bracket ongoing. This is what ongoing looks like. Actually, nothing is happening here. This is the site for the Africa Games supposed to be hosted in Ghana. 25 sporting disciplines are supposed to be hosted, as told to us last November by the president. However, it is not clear when construction is due to start and if indeed it will be finished before the games are slated in August of 2023 at the earliest. Gary L. Smith for Joy Sports.
There are concerns that the competition could be taken away from Ghana. Chairman of the local organizing committee for the 2008 African Cup of Nations is Dr. Kofi Amwa, and he has called on the government to have the games postponed so that the country can prepare better. He was speaking on Joy Sports Link with Nathaniel Atto.
I've heard you, and I'm happy to say that the obvious conclusion that is coming out of the discussions is going to be a benefit to our nation. This showcase of sports tournaments, regional and global, are designed to show the pride of a nation to the world. And if it's done properly, then you can use it to attract tourism, attract investment. But if you are not ready, I think there's going to be many Africa sports events. Let us now support our government in enacting the policies. Somebody talked about education, job creation for our young people. That will build strength for our society. So when we want to go and host one of these regional or international tournaments, we really can showcase our nation to the world. So that's my comment. I think we should suspend this potential hosting. We are not ready. Financially, we are not ready. And if we are not careful, we are going to bring shame to the nation instead of pride and glory. Thank you very much.
And that's all sports. Time will permit us for sports on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. We've got more sports to share with you on myjoyonline.com/sports. The big story we've got for you there is that the Ghana Football Association is going for a camping tour in Europe, despite CAF's decision to postpone the FIFA World Cup qualifiers to September. They say they want to play friendly matches later this month. I am Muftau Nabila Abla. Up next is Showbiz.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News. And our gospel musician Diana Hamilton has confirmed a collaboration with High Life artist Kofi Kinata. This comes after the latter posted a flyer on his social media platforms asking fans to be on the lookout. Here is Diana Hamilton. In a collaboration with Kofi Kinata, I never knew that you wanted to collaborate with a secular artist. What happened?
Did he say a collaboration?
Well, it's on his social media. I saw it. Or do you want me to show it to you?
Please do.
On my phone.
Just watch the space. Okay. Just watch the space is all I can say.
We got life. We got life.
We got life. We got life. We got life.
Meanwhile, as part of Mother's Day celebrations, gospel musician Diana Hamilton, of course, has been honoring some widows in the country, recounting some of the struggles her mother, who happens to be a widow, had to endure. The singer said she was moved to celebrate widows.
I live in the UK, and our Mother's Day is always different from the rest of the world. And so I'm usually not here for Mother's Day. And this year, because I was at Cedar Mountain and for other things I'm about to do, I happened to be here on a Mother's Day. So ideally, it would have been good if I did it yesterday, but I was ministering somewhere. And I knew I had to celebrate mothers and also celebrate widows. My mother is a widow. And so it's just a combination of the two. And I called my mother, Honorable Gifty Afinyindazi, and today she made it happen. They are Glow, a prayer warrior, and they pray for me a lot. And so it was just the widows in the Women's Glow that we gathered, and God helped us give something to them for today. Adrumenti na yetiasi, eyewa adrumenti na yewo. So the essence of our praise is centered on your grace. Adum, Adum, Wadum. Good.
Now, musician Natongo Zimba is calling on all musicians to embrace their raw talent in becoming the astute musicians they dream of. He says using electronic or modified forms which are not reflective of their natural voices cannot take them very far.
There is no Our time of playing music is a completely different. And when I use this word, one time I came to Ghana and I heard Nana Mpedu was a constructor. And I asked myself, what? Nana Mpedu is one of the Euros, you know, who made Ghana music somewhere. And the government should have done something. Now, because of money issue, he's going to do construction jobs, like became a contractor, doing road. Nana Mpedu shouldn't be doing. Nana Mpedu should have a school teaching the young kids how to become the same like him. But we lose that. You know, we have a lot of things that we are losing. Why the young guys know will change? That's why if you listen to this time, the music, it's all electronics, cheap music. But that's why the people
cheap music now.
Yes, I say it's cheap music because electronic music is cheap. You know, you see a musician go to Europe and then he put a CD and then he's singing. Yeah, if you do that and you don't ever start to walk away, that's not music. Then he's mumming with the microphone. That's one there. That is why we be drinking all the beer. For when will we go in right to heaven? All our friends will be drinking all the beer. Hey, hey, hey.
That'll be all for Showbiz here on Joy News today. My name is Becky.
That'll be it for this edition of News Today. Many thanks for your company. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Bernice Abubedulan, so do enjoy the rest of your day and stay with us. We are home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. The Marketplace is up next.